here's the catch. Black ignores. Black ignores. The Ink Cup, the Olympic Go event of the Go World, has just concluded this past September. It is held every 4 years where contenders from all different countries come to compete. The two finalists in this cup was none other than Ichiriki Ryo, a 9-dan Japanese player, versus ZK, a Chinese 9-dan professional, playing it out in a best of 3 match, where Ichiriki Ryo won by the score of 3-0, giving Japan their first world title in over 19 years. So congratulations, Japan. Wonderful job. And to commemorate this huge occasion for Japan, well, just in general, I felt like, hey, why not pick a game from back in the day where the Ink Cup was still fairly young, fairly new. And so we are going to go back in time to pre-AI, and see how the games were held back then. So, if we take a look right now, we have Choi Chil-han, a 9-dan professional player, versus Chang Hao, a 9-dan professional player. I don't know much of their backgrounds. All I know is that this game was fantastic. This was from the Ink Cup final game number 1 that was held on December 26, 2004. And if you guys are, present in today's Go World, you know that AlphaGo made their big debut back in 2016. Now, prior to that, AI wasn't really much of a thing that a lot of players looked at least from my research. And we knew that the AI really wasn't as strong as it is today with Katago and all of that. And so I thought it would be extremely fun to kind of look at old Ink Cup games and do a commentary on it where it's pretty much pre-AI. And so we're going to go through this game and see how much more different it is and pretty much just enjoy the story. And so we are going to start the game off in the top right hand corner. Choi Chil-han playing a 3-4 position, with Chang Hao now taking some time to take a look at what they want to do. They also decide to take a 3-4 position. So these two positions right here, number 1 and number 2, is pretty much telling, both of them are telling each other that, hey, I want a territorial game today. I don't want to do anything too crazy. Yes, I might have some influence, but overall, this is a territorial type of game. And so, with the other opening of 5-3 and the cross opening of 4-4, this is going to be geared towards more of an influential play. So it's a 50-50 positioning right now, with black leaning more towards territory than the white opponent. And so we can see that black decides to approach on the 3-5, approaching a knight's move on this little top hand corner, hoping to develop the left side right here. Now, white responding wonderfully with a Kasumi, telling black, hey, you gotta pick. Either you want the left side or the right side. And black is like, you know what? I don't know what I want. I want to have influence. I want to build my boundaries here. And this is what I'm trying to build. And so white's like, okay, I see that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to press you, so that as I'm pressing you, I'm going to build our boundary line right here, so that all the left side here is going to be pretty much my influence, and you get this tiny little third line territory. At least that's what's the message that white is telling black. Now, as you guys know, the opening is pretty much your statement of the game. You're going to open up having a couple statements that your opponent is going to take and read from that. And so, depending on what you're saying, will determine what the overall strategy is today. And what's really fascinating about this game is these last couple moves where black decides to take a 1 space extension, self-peeping himself in the presence of white, and white doing the exact same right here, where the white took a 1 space extension and self-peeped themselves. So this game is a lot about, so far, just opening up some weaknesses, causing a lot of these cutting points to occur. So we see that we have our famous little flower shape right here. But you do see that in these positions 1 and 2, the cuts can occur and cause some detriment. But as you see right here, white is now building that surrounding these 4 black stones and causing them to be in somewhat of a tight position. However, black is also in a position of surrounding as well on the opposite end, surrounding these 2 stones right here. So still, it is anyone's game, but right now with the extension going downwards, we are seeing the pressure on these 2 stones are going to be much greater, because if these 2 stones fall, then black has free reign and free territory in essence all the way up to the C5 stone here. White immediately sees that and doesn't want black to have all of that. And black is like, okay, well, white's extending downwards, and I know that white can always jump out, creating more liberties. So now this group of black stones are now in deep trouble. Black's got to find a way to get a base. Black decides to extend down into the top left-hand corner, where white's corner was supposed to be, and is now strengthening, extending, and gathering more and more liberties so that the later attacks coming in will come down. White sees the liberties growing, and white now takes precaution, trying to extend out, trying to escape out of black's grasp. But black was like, you know what? If you're going to escape, I'm going to Atari this stone at B18, effectively creating one eye. With one eye, if you're battling against a group with no eyes, the one eye group, chances are most of the time they will win. And so white sees that and it's like, you know what? Your group is alive. Now I'm going to try to escape. So my three black stones with the 2 stones extension right here is going to hop out surrounding these 2 black stones. But now here's the catch. If we take a look at the board position, black decides to play a pincer here at H16, boxing in these 5 stones right here. And white immediately sees that this is not a position that white wants to be in. So white's going to start extending out, starts pushing, starts stretching out so that white can escape. And white's right now is just squeezing out. Black is still on the attack right now, pinching out. And I don't think black is going to be able to contain white right now. The white's shape is really solid, really strong. All white has to do is really extend right here, or even make the famous table shape, and white can easily fly out into the center of the map. Now, with a lot of the cutting positions that black has given, white can capitalize on those positions and cause cutting points and Atari black so that white has an ability to create a couple eyes in this area. But we see that black is not letting up. Black is really trying to contain white into this top left-hand corner while building, and if you guys can see, while building the outside influence right here and really putting a lot of pressure on the white stones. Now, for white, I don't know if you want to continue on this. Maybe you want to play elsewhere. Maybe you want to connect your groups. It's always a good idea to connect your groups so that they don't get disconnected. And this is a nice connection point right here. This is a very strong shape right here. You see the famous double tiger's mouth opening, or tiger's mouth shape right here. Very solid. And now black is going to start pinching at these 3 stones. Black really wants his territory back. And white is like, you know what? I don't know. I don't know if you want it. Because what's going to happen is that white is planning to play a move somewhere over here to contain these 6 black stones. Excuse me. And so if a white is able to just play in this area while keeping his stones over here alive, then black is going to be in serious trouble, because that is a full surround right there. And we do see a coke that can potentially happen in the near future. I don't know if it's going to happen, but it's there. Now black seeing that, and white decides to take the co. And so right now we're still in the opening. There's still not too many co threats. And as you guys know, co's in the opening doesn't really amount to anything. There's so many other moves that black can do, such as play at D3 right here to pretty much grab some territorial property or territory. White sees that, it's like, hey, you know what? I see that you're gonna start pinching out, maybe capture these 3 stones. Fine, I'm gonna let you keep those 3 stones. You keep that territory, that's yours. What I'm after is a breakout. I need a breakout, go towards the center, and start capitalizing this area because you building that wall here, black, and trying to come out, that is something that I cannot let you do right now. One, I'm reduced. If you look at the black stones, black is now strengthening the stones here, reducing white's potential. And black has a couple stones already over here that's kind of in white's, it's kind of thorn in white's side. And so these are Aji stones, more or less. And white is going to do something. So white decides to extend out and start building that center influence, start strengthening it. And black's like, you can take that 1 stone, but I'm still going to build my table shape. I need eyes at this point because these stones are now somewhat in trouble. Yes, you're able to take it right here, but again, that's only 1 eye potentially. So is it super strong? Who knows? But right now, white sees that black is building the influence and is now going to start extending out. Black is like, okay, I'm not going to let you into my corner. So I am now finally going to play at that D3 position and take over that corner, putting me in essence in the lead. Because if we take a look at black's territory right now, black has essentially this group right here. Okay, black essentially has this group right here, as well as maybe a little bit of this group over here, some influence over here, and that's pretty much it. What does white have? What does white have? White has maybe a little bit of this right now, okay, and maybe 3 points here. So you can see that white right now is severely behind, and white's got to find a way to catch up because it's not looking good for white. Now, white putting in a couple forcing moves right here. There is a nice Atari situation, but again, with this stone being an Atari, these 3 stones are pretty much done for. I don't think anything is going to happen. It is a Sente move for white's part. White did take Sente, forcing black to play a Gote move. Now white can play elsewhere now. And is pretty much going to make an extension right here, building a base so that white has a strong presence in the center and is able to now move out into the center, has access to the center in essence. Black sees that white has access in the center and does not want white's 4 stones here to connect up with these stones over here. So this move right here at f7 is meant to disconnect the 2 groups from each other. Remember, in the game of Go, having weak groups is not a good thing, especially if you have multiple weak groups. So a nice goal for you guys, or a nice goal for these players, is to essentially find a way to disconnect groups from each other and attack while separating those groups. Again, safety in numbers, but once you pick up 1 or 2 groups, then the group overall numbers will fall and become weaker and weaker. And so that's what we are essentially seeing here. And so now white is trying to build some sort of center influence. Black sees it. Black decides to go for an invasion between these 3 the 3 stones and 1 stone here, and white decides to cap on the top. Well, black sees that there was an elephant eye at the J4 position and decides to just pretty much slice on through. I see that you have a weakness. I see that you have an elephant's eye. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slice through here, separating the 2 white groups from each other. And note, look at what's black doing. Black is surrounding this whole center group right here, taking more and more hazardous or giving more hazard to white's group. And now white has to find a way to survive. White has to find a way to live and not be squeezed, because remember, a group is not alive until it has 2 eyes. And so black, seeing, and I can sense the hunger from black, is now going to line up the boundary right here, preventing white from escaping. Black's just going to play right here, creating a nice tiger's mouth right here at the h7 position, blocking white from escaping. Now white does have a couple Sente moves, okay, and if white escapes, I guess white escapes, but black is now pretty much asking white, which group do you want to save? This cap on these 3 stones is pretty much saying, okay, if you want to save your stones here, I want these stones here. That's essentially what that capping move is saying. It's like, pick a side. Well, if you're not going to let me have these 3 stones, I'm going to come back and I'm going to attack this group. And so this whole conversation that black is having with white right now is pretty much asking, what is it that you want? Let's trade. Remember, The game, the Go, the other name for the Go, for the Go board game is called the surrounding game. It's not called the attacking game. It's called the surrounding game. And so a lot of the conversations that's between these two professional players is pretty much asking, which group do you want to save? Give me something, I'll let you save the other thing. And if you don't give me that thing, then I'm going to attack the other thing. And so this is just the constant back and forth that I'm seeing right now between these two players. It's a lot of conversations happening. But what I am concerned about right now is what we see is that there are a lot of different types of loose connection that can be cut. Right here. So all these markings that I have right here are places that either player can play to kind of disconnect or connect the groups together. Again, this is also a disconnect from this white stone and these three white stones as well. So white does have to be careful. Now, if white's able to surround all of these black stones right here and pretty much Atari them, it's going to be beneficial for white. So you can see that black is really trying to squeeze out between the two white groups and vice versa. This white group right here is trying to squeeze out between these two black groups. Okay, these two black groups right here. Okay. So we're seeing a lot of squeezing, a lot of conversation, a lot of trading. But I'm not too sure if white is still in a good position. Again, white is, from the last we checked, white is behind. Well, again, let's do a double count here. Black's territory. Okay, Black's territory. Black's territory right here is now pretty much, in essence, Black's territory. And maybe Black's territory right here. And what about white? White has this territory over here still. Maybe a couple points here. Again, still up in air because these groups are still out. They can escape. And this bit. So if we just take a look at Black's influence and Black's position, Black has a much stronger position right now than white. Okay. So now white is going to try to get out of Black's grasp, but Black just needs a cap right here on the E7 position, causing white to kind of be like, hey, where are my eyes? Well, again, white can just clamp right here on this stone, effectively creating a nice little pocket where an eye can be formed. And let me show you guys right here. An eye can be formed right here on the F5 position. So I think in this position right here, white is in a pretty good shape of making two eyes. Now, E1 is the vital point between this shape. So white now has to make a decision. How does white respond? White decides to connect all the groups together and see pretty much what Black's going to do. Now, Black is pretty much dead at this point, but this is a very nice co-threat if they ever get back into a co-battle. So playing at E2 is a co-threat. So it's always good to kind of just maintain your Aji stones there for later. Now, Black sees that white is grabbing this territory right here, and Black is deciding to invade and try to pretty much reduce white's grasp between the two groups. Now, playing at Q3, which is the attachment of white at the Q4 position, that statement is pretty much saying, I'm in trouble. My O3 stone is getting surrounded because white did play a couple moves here. And so I'm feeling a little stressed. Black's going to contact to strengthen its position. It's an emergency move. It only happens when you are in dire need of making strength. And that's essentially what Black is doing in this position. Black is attaching, allowing white to kind of strengthen its position and allowing Black to strengthen its position right here. So you can see that Black can easily play at the Q5 position later on to Atari. White's most likely going to take, and then Black can pretty much hop on out right here. And that's a really good position for Black if Black needs to escape. But now let's come back to this position right here. We see that there is an Atari on the G1 position. White could easily take it, but white decides not to take it at the time being, just because there is no need to. If white takes it, that's what, 4 points. 4 points. You don't need to take it. And essentially, if white takes, Black throws in, this becomes a false eye because this stone at G1 is in Atari in essence. And so Black sees that, and like I said, right here at the attachment, white decides to take, and black is somehow going to connect and be able to escape upwards, or black's gonna go into a co-battle. So now we are in another co-battle. Like I said, this is just a very, very fascinating game right now, because there is a lot to lose. Again, white has some co-threats right here, playing right here to try to save its stone. Maybe Ataring this dragon right here is another move for white. Black again coming in right here, or even capturing and then coming in and pretty much falsifying these two eyes is a thing that black needs to pay attention to. And white is like, you know what, I don't want to do the code just yet. I'm not ready. I don't have enough code threats to really punch my way out. And so black's like, okay, well, if you're not gonna take the code threat, I'm gonna punch my way out. So, and white's like, okay, fine, you do that. I'm gonna start surrounding you. I'm gonna try to do something here. If you cut me off right here, I connect, and now your dragon is gonna get stuck. Black sees that. Black says, I cannot connect right now. I cannot connect. But what I can do is I can Hane to grow. And so black's going to Hane at the K9 position. If white decides to cut, or if black decides to cut, then, we have a situation where black can create an opening to connect these two groups together. But right now, white has this nice solid wall in between, splitting the two black groups. And so we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. And I need a breather, so I'm going to take a gulp of water because my throat is now getting scratchy. Now, white does have to be careful though, because as white is pushing black, black's going to extend, causing this white group here to become weaker. Because the more stones that black is able to have in this area, the easier it is for black to attack white. And so white does have to kind of watch that out, kind of not force things too much. And so white's gonna connect again. White doesn't want to lose this connection. If white can push here later on, do an Atari right here, and then undercut, destroying this whole group potentially. So white does not want to lose this weakness by sacrificing the D7 stone. And black's like, okay, if you're not going to sacrifice it, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to contain you. Again, I have stones all the way around here. What are you going to do? You can't get out, really. And white's like, you know what? I can. I can split you right here in the middle. I just need to do some preparation work. And black's like, okay, well, if you're going to try to split me, that's fine. I'm going to start surrounding outside. And white's like, no, I can't let you surround outside. And so again, we see this conversation happening again. Black is asking white, what do you want? Pick something already so that I can get the other thing. And white's like, I want both. I'm not going to let you push me around. I'm going to defend as many groups as I can and put you in a situation where you're going to have to defend your group. And we can see this white wall, okay, surrounding this black stones. And black sees that. Black's like, you know what? I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going around. But the problem in the position, and this is what I think AI changed quite a bit, is the disconnection right here. I don't really see this type of play anymore. Again, I'm not too, how should I say it? I'm not too knowledgeable in how professional plays nowadays, but I don't really see these in my games anymore where the cuts are just left here. Usually, especially at the lower SDK level, cuts are not as common as this, where it's just, completely out. And so again, black playing one of the weaknesses of white, which is white left a cut. And if black plays here next move, right, at the K7, then black can Atari. If white fixes, black comes down, and these 3 stones are in Atari. So there is a lot of weaknesses right here. And there we go. Black plays at K7. So again, this is what I'm seeing. Now that I've improved in my own game, I can actually see these things, which is before I couldn't. And white's like, you know what? I see that my 3 stones are in trouble, so I'm going to connect them out. So whichever way, this is a Miai move. Whichever way you do, I'm going to connect the other way. And black's like, okay, well, if you're going to capture that, I'm already putting you in Atari, so you have to come back to fix it anyways. I'm just going to try to fix my group here, and I'm going to try to connect it with my stones over here. And white's like, you know what? I see that you're doing that. and I'm gonna poke. I'm gonna peep. And black's like, oh, and I'm gonna connect. You're getting surrounded. Black's staying. You're getting surrounded. So be careful. Be careful what you're doing, white. I'm surrounding you, and you're letting me strengthen my position. Okay. Again, black just needs to play here, and these groups are disconnected. Even if white decides to disconnect black right here, black just connects. Okay. That's it. And so white has to be very, very careful, and black can disconnect right here as well. So white has to be very, very careful in this. White does not want to lose his huge dragon and lose the advantage of containing these black stones. However, because this stone is now Atari, I don't think white's in a favorable position to make any threats on these black stones. Now, black sees that he's at the advantage. He doesn't want to get contained, so he's going to try to break out. And hopefully, black's able to do something in terms of these stones up here. I mean, it would be really nice if black just kept pushing against it, but I don't think anything's going to happen. So black decides to finally take this stone right here, just in the event something happened. And white's like, okay, at this point, I need to find a way to really come back from this game. Again, I'm in trouble. I don't know who's ahead, but I gotta take my profit right here. I'm gonna start building my center group, and if I can build this, I might be able to catch up. And black's like, you could try, but again, your corner is kind of left undefended here. You got a lot of weak points. I mean, we have that Ko. I can play at R2. I can destroy your eyes. There's a lot of situations here that is not favorable for the bottom right hand corner. And white's like, okay, I mean, I've been leaving cuts all day, so I'm gonna fix my cut at S6. And black's like, I can see that, but again, you got to cut at R2 right now, and you're in Atari. You can take the window, but I can clamp you next turn and you're dead. So the move of playing at R2 for white is the correct move. However, now if we take a look, white only has 2 liberties plus a Ko. And again, white doesn't want to play a Ko right now. White, I don't know if white has enough Ko threats for this. And I wish I turned off the analysis review. Can I turn off the analysis? I don't like to have the analysis on. Can I? No, I can't right now. So we're just gonna deal with it again. And black is deciding to take. Okay, take these Ko threats. Black doesn't want to deal with these Ko threats, but black doesn't really care if white has Ko threats. Really, black doesn't care. Black is ahead of white right now. And what we can see is AI telling the next player to play at the P18 move. That is a huge move for either the corner or for the reduction for either player. So this P18 move is huge. Huge for either players. It is what we can call a double influence, a double sente, maybe even a double sente. I don't know if it's a double sente. But what do we have here? Right now, black, these 3 stones are in trouble. Okay. Either black comes to fix, or black decides to push out right here, Ataring, and then coming out and gaining that influence. Okay. White's like, you know what? Black's like, you know what? I'm gonna instead play at K18 and then see if I can rescue my 3 stones here. All white has to do really is play at the H17 position if it can, but we'll see. Okay. Again, a lot of cuts for white right here, so white does have to be careful. Okay. But what we have is white building that influence. So we can see that white is using its sente move to build this influence right here. White needs this right now, desperately needs it. Again, these are professional players. I do not doubt that they are close in terms of score right now. I don't doubt it. But to my SDK knowledge, if I'm just to draw my bubbles, I see black still being in the lead. Okay. Again, I've done it a couple times in this game. And if I was to draw it again, black has this, black has this, black doesn't have the middle just yet. White seems to have more of the middle now. But again, can't confirm that. White is here, right? White is captured this one stone right here. White has some of this potential right here. Okay. And now white's getting maybe this potential right here. And black has this right here. Okay. So it looks to me, just basing off of my squiggles here, that black is still ahead. I don't know by how much. I really don't. And I'm not going to look to see how much black is ahead by. But being that they're both professional, if white was really out, like far away from black's score, like the differences was too great, I believe white would resign at this point. But white hasn't resigned yet, so I'm going to assume it's close. But anyways, with that being said, what we see right here is white now building on the bottom right here, forcing black to kind of take the outer influence. But the problem with the outer influence is that white has this ginormous wall in front of black's face. So the potential of this outer influence is negligible in essence. You're probably able to get a couple points, but it's not a game breaker where you're grabbing like 50 points. Okay. And now we are seeing another code situation. Black decides to take. And now white is in super big trouble because black playing here is Atari, white connects, black plays Atari, white connects, black plays Atari and kills this group. And so white sees that it's a code, white's going to throw in, trying to capture these 5 stones here. That's a nice code threat. Black should respond, otherwise white's going to break out, and there we go. Black responds, capturing, white's going to recapture the code threat back. Okay. And now black has a Sente move, a potential Sente move that it can play to capture white. And so what is black going to do at this point? Well, black's going to be like, well, if you want this, okay, I want this. Give me all of this. So what's bigger? Well, white's like, no, I agree that that's pretty big. Black's going to take this code back right now. Okay, if black does it, then I'm in shock. Nope, black decides to take the code back, so not in shock. And, you know, it's, again, if white loses its holding right here, black gains this group, okay, as well as a potential inland to white's corner. And white decides to play this move right here, threatening all of these stones. But here's the catch. Black ignores the group right here. Black's like, take these stones. How many stones is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Essentially 10, 20 points right here. And black's like, take those 20 points. What I want is this. I want this. And I want a way to reduce you this way and reduce you this way. This is well worth more than 20 points. For me, I would immediately save this group right now. I would connect at this point. Because that's an I. That's a total I. And for black not to take it, that's huge. Because once this group falls right here, if this group falls, this group might fall with it. Okay. However, black is connected outwards here, so maybe not. But come on, that's 20 points. Anyways, what a game, guys. What a game. Look at black's just leaving those 20. I don't even know why. I can't believe that the professionals will find that this group right here is worth more. In terms of the positioning of the board right now, it's worth more than this group right here. That is amazing. And I'm baffled. I'm baffled by that. So again, black is playing a couple of its forcing moves right here. Again, white has to take, otherwise white's going to lose these 3 stones. Again, all code threats right now. And again, if white loses this, I mean, black has how many points? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points. So that's around 16 points already if black is able to break through, and black indeed does break through, gaining these 16 points. So white, I don't know what white's gonna do, because white has to find a way. White is hungry right now for this group. White is going after this huge group because of this massive loss on the right hand side. Again, I don't know why it's a massive loss, but it is. Like I said, I think that the reason why it's a massive loss is because black is able to come out into the center as well as reduce the corner area. And white is now playing one last attempt of Ko. But again, I don't know. White, I don't know. Black is now saying, okay, well, if you're gonna try to do something here, again, it's all connected. I don't think you're gonna take much. I just need to fill, and then, you know, split you guys up. But again, white has to be careful. Black can play here, okay? Potentially 2 eyes in this position. Definitely 1 eye, okay? And black decides to take the Ko, and black can survive if black takes the L1. If black plays the L1, black survives. So what other Ko threats does white have? Again, these 2 stones, I don't think it's worth a lot. These maybe is worth a lot. And black's like, you know what? I'm going to trade all of this. I'm going to save this to form 1 eye. My next eye is right here. And that means all of this is alive. And white's like, okay, well, I'm going to take what I can. I'm going to build my little top area here. That's mine now. And black's like, take it. Take it. I'm fine with that. I'm fine. And so we're getting close to the end here. Maybe a couple more moves, hopefully. But white's trying every attempt that it can to kind of reduce the eyes here. Again, black doesn't care. Black's like, you can reduce this eye. I'm going to take this. As long as I take that, I am fine. And white's like, take it. Again, I'm going to say, I'm going to try to get whatever territory I have. I want all of this. I want all of that. And black's like, take it. If you're going to take all of that, I'm going to get this back. I mean, look at the conversation we're having right now. Look at the conversations they're asking each other. They're constantly asking each other, what do you want? Which group do you want to keep? Which group do you want to throw away? You got to give me something here. And white is now in a precarious position because these stones are now in black's territory. It's behind enemy lines. Yes, you have a couple of Ataris here. Yes, AI is saying to kind of extend here. For black extending right here, forming that tiger's mouth is going to give black the inland here to kind of reduce this whole territory and put this group right here in somewhat of a trouble. Now, black decides to play here to prevent white from cutting off this group, and white decides, so you know what, I'm going to take it. Okay, you're out. I'm going to take. What are you going to do? Again, black has to either play here or play here to connect this group with this group. Okay, and black's like, okay, well, if you play there, I'm going to extend out. I'm going to extend up, and then you're going to make cutting points, and then maybe take these 2 stones. Right? I can see black doing that. Okay. Black moves up. White most likely is going to cap. Now, if white caps, it does create a couple cutting points. And I don't know if white wants to create a couple cutting points. And look at white decides to be like, hey, instead of capping you, I'm just going to push through and play at T12, threatening to take your eyes away in this area. Again, this is black group. Black group is surrounded by white stones here too. So if we can falsify this eye, which is now prevalent, we're going to falsify this eye, right? And in essence, this eye will also get falsified. But what white doesn't have the advantage of is white's already in Atari right here. Black just needs to play and capture. And black's like, you know what? You can try the best you can. I'm just going to capture you. But right here, I'm going to invade in your corner. I have 3 stones right here that can help support these 2 stone invasion. And white's like, I'm going to try to protect my corner. Black's like, I know you will. Because if you block here at Q17, that's an empty triangle shape. And that's a bad shape. I can take advantage of that. And white's like, I don't want to make the empty shape. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play next move, S16, connecting these white stones together. And putting the 2 stones in a precarious position as well. And black's like, okay, if you want your corner, take your corner. I'm going to take these 4 stones. And white's like, come on. I'm gonna take your 4 stones, but I gotta get out first. So I'm gonna get out, and black's most likely gonna turn this way. I'm why not? Okay, extend that. Sure, black is gonna extend. Be like, okay, well, you can run as much as you can. I have a push. I have a cut. I'm just using this to kind of put pressure on you and extend my liberties. White sees that. White's going to play a bamboo joint. Again, is now solidly connected with this group over here. And we are now, I think this is it. Black decides to connect right here at the S16 position. And I think this is it. This is game. Yep, it's game. All right, so white resigns at this point, and black is now in the lead with 23.9 points, capturing this territory right here, put black in a ginormous lead of 20 points. And these, again, are 2 9-dan professional players. They know the game inside and out. And for them, they were just playing around, having cuts here, having conversations here, asking which group do you want to save, which group do you not want to save, putting pressure on each of those groups, exploiting the weaknesses, and essentially who exploited who the best. And we give the victor to our black contender right here, Blackstone contender. So this was a fantastic game one of the In-Cup finals back in 2004, pre-AI. I want to emphasize this is pre-AI to the best of my knowledge. And this is just one of those games that I can't even tell if we plug this into Katago or any of the AI engines now, how many of their moves were super efficient and how many moves weren't. So if you guys are gonna do that, please go ahead and do that and let me know in the comments below. But thank you guys so much for watching. It was a fantastic commentary. I'm so happy that I was able to do this one again. And until next time, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care, everybody.